Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being on time and even earlier. So just an introduction of myself. I'm Yijie, and today over here we have Dallas with us, who is from Sleek.
Hi
So
everyone.
yeah, so today we will just basically talk about, I will give an introduction about how is it like, what it means to sell on Amazon cross-border. And then after that, I'll hand over to Dallas, who will be explaining to you guys a little bit more about tax implication, especially for Singapore sellers who wants to expand into the US. So just a couple of housekeeping rules. So just remember that this recording will be recorded and so you can view on demand. So during the webinar, just focus on what is being shared. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop them at the Q&A box down below so that we can answer at the end of the webinar. Okay, so maybe now is 11:01. Maybe let me just share my screen. Uh, so that you guys can see. 1 second. Yep. So can everyone see my screen? All right. Can. So anyway, the whole webinar will just start off by me presenting, share with you guys a little bit more about how to sell on Amazon.com, and then we'll hand over to Dallas to explain more about the taxes. So again, hi everyone, my name is Yijie. I am an account manager from Amazon Global Selling Team, and today I will be sharing with you on how you can get started with selling globally on Amazon. So these are some of the topics that I will be covering today. Firstly, introduction to cross-border e-commerce and Amazon global selling. Secondly, some of the benefits, programs for Amazon sellers, such as product selection. I think that is one of the key questions that we have from new sellers. Secondly, fulfillment by Amazon. Thirdly, some of the brand owners' tools and benefits. Fourthly, Amazon advertising, and also this new seller incentive program that was launched this year. So some of the things that we will also be covering, some of the things that you should take note before you start selling. And then I'll be answering some of the frequently asked questions by Amazon sellers. So let's get started. So most of you would be familiar with domestic e-commerce, which is where sellers and customers are in the same country. For example, for Singapore sellers, where you sell on Amazon.sg. Where on the other hand, cross-border e-commerce refers to a business model in which sellers from different countries buy and sell products through an online marketplace, such as Amazon, to overseas customers. So there are many similarities between domestic and cross-border e-commerce, right? But the operations to it are slightly different due to geographical differences between the customers and the sellers. For example, cross-border transactions will receive various foreign currencies due to the geographical differences. So as a seller, how you can convert them into your local currencies and legally deposit them in your bank account requires a professional cross-border payment solution. So with this, Amazon relies on a strong global logistics and distribution network and constantly produces new innovative products and tools, allowing local companies to sell their products to the world through Amazon stores more simply and conveniently. So how can you do this with Amazon Global Selling? So this is a team that I'm in. Amazon Global Selling is one of Amazon's business unit that helps businesses from anywhere in the world to launch a global business, reaching Amazon customers around the world and building international brands. So with Amazon Global Selling, you can sell anywhere around the world. That includes North America, Europe, Asia, as well as the Middle East. However, one thing to highlight is that my team only focuses on sellers selling into the North American marketplace, and this includes US, Canada, and Mexico. So one of the questions that we receive a lot from sellers is also what differentiates customers from our competitors. So these are the three reasons. Firstly, Amazon has a global footprint and worldwide customer base. So we have a physical presence in 20 over countries, and there are over 300 million worldwide active customer accounts, and with also 150 million over Prime members all over the world. Amazon also has a leading logistic infrastructure, which helps sellers like yourself to deliver products to customers in over 200 countries and territories. Sellers can also leverage on Fulfillment by Amazon, also known as FBA, to help fulfill their local and international orders. Lastly, Amazon is always adding new tools and services to help sellers scale. So in 2020 alone, we actually released more than 225 tools and services to help sellers manage their Amazon businesses. Now, let me take you through what are some of these benefits, tools, and programs that I was mentioning just now. So firstly, let me go through product selection. So I understand that for many sellers who are interested to start with e-commerce, this could be one of the most popular topic and question. So here are a few areas that you can look into for ideas to inspire you. And to find all these, you can just Google them up. So for example, let's say you Googled Amazon bestsellers and click into the first Amazon.com result. You will see a page that looks like this on Amazon. So over here, as you can see on the highlighted portion, it basically covers the 5 areas that I have mentioned previously, like bestsellers, new releases, new movers, shakers, most wished for items, as well as gift ideas. So under any department, you can click into the category that you have interest in to see what are the best-selling products under that category, and the items will show accordingly. So this exercise can help you to understand the market and consumer behavior better so that you can assess the potential of the product you have in mind. You can also click on the listing under these top selling products and read the customer's reviews to understand the likes and dislikes of each customer. So are there some questions that you can ask yourself is, are there ways in which you can innovate and improve the current product to create more value for the customers? If the answer is yes, then you know you are off to a good start. Alternatively, if you wish to leave your product research and scouting to a third party, you can navigate the software and service partners page on our Seller Central. So all information on Seller Central are only available to Amazon sellers. So to navigate to this page, simply go to your partner network tab and then under Find Apps and click on the Find Apps and Services. So under Launch and Product Research and Scouting, you will be able to see all the third-party vendors listed here. From here, you can filter based on the marketplace supported, program supported, as well as prices. Next, let me go into fulfillment. So as mentioned, there are two different ways of how you can fulfill your products. So firstly is fulfillment by merchant, meaning you fulfill the orders by yourself. So as you can see from the table here, as a seller, if you decide to fulfill the order by yourself, you will need to prepare each order, answer the customer's question in their local language within 24 hours, and also provide customer a return address information that is located in the US. Option number 2, which is something that we always highly encourage sellers to adopt, is fulfillment by Amazon. And why this is something that we highly encourage sellers to adopt is because, firstly, Amazon will process the order, pack it, and deliver it to your customer. Amazon will also answer all your customer inquiries on your behalf in their local languages within 24 hours. And lastly, Amazon manages all the return process on behalf of you. So as you can see, by using Amazon, this really allows the sellers to focus on other areas that can help to scale your business quickly instead of focusing on the operation side of things. So in short, Fulfillment by Amazon is a logistic program created to help our sellers to scale the business. So as I've mentioned before, you can sell your products and Amazon will pick, pack, ship, and provide all the customer service on your behalf. So for sellers who are just starting out, this is a good news for you. There is no minimum number of units you must send. So you can send a smaller amount of units to just test it out to see if this works for you. So when your products are in FBA, they are actually eligible for Amazon Prime free two-day shipping, and your listing are displayed with a Prime badge. So this way, customers are more assured to purchase your product as they know that the fulfillment process, the customer service, as well as the return process are all handled by Amazon. So in summary, these are the 6 benefits that you can receive with Fulfillment by Amazon. So firstly, like I said, you can save on fulfillment costs by shipping in bulk. So instead of sending your items to the US one by one, you can actually send them in bulk and store it in our fulfillment centers. By using FBA, you can also reach out to millions of Prime members. So for sellers who are not sure what Prime members are we referring to, so Amazon Prime is actually a subscription service from Amazon. So it gives members access to exclusive shopping, entertainment services, discounts, and many more. So Prime members usually prefer to buy Prime products. So having the Prime badge will increase product visibility as well as conversion amongst the buyers. So Amazon also handles all the last mile delivery on your behalf and provides all customer support. Next, let me summarize how you can do this in 6 steps. So step number 1, of course, you have to be registered as an Amazon seller. Step number 2, create a product listing. So for certain category of product, it requires category approval if the product that you are selling has its restrictions. So make sure that all this is done, all the approval are obtained before you enroll in this program, because if let's say if your product arrives at the fulfillment center and you are not approved to sell the product in that category, your inventory will remain inactive until you obtain the approval. So step number 3, prepare your products to send into Amazon Fulfillment Center. Step number 4, assign inventory to FBA. So in default mode, all your products will be under fulfillment by merchant. So you will need to convert them to FBA. Yeah, you can do so in your Seller Central portal under Manage Inventory tab. So step number 5 is creating a shipment for you to send your products to our fulfillment center. And then lastly, send and track your shipment. So when your shipment arrives in Amazon FBA Fulfillment Center, the FBA team will send you an email telling you that they have received your inventory. So next, after talking about FBA, let me dive a little bit into brand owners' tools and benefits. So here are some of the insights that I would like to share regarding brand owners' benefits. So one of our survey actually found that 50% of overseas customers choose familiar brands when spending on Amazon. So branded products are quickly remembered by consumers, and these help to cultivate brand loyalty, which allows them to buy your products repeatedly. So in an internal study, we also found out that brand owners typically increase sales 1.5 times faster than other sellers on average. So this allows brand owners like yourself to receive more orders and thus increase brand and product awareness among customers. So what is Amazon Brand Registry? To help brand owners scale and protect their business on Amazon, we actually launched this initiative back in 2017. So it is a free service which helps businesses protect their intellectual property and to create an accurate, trusted experience for customers on Amazon. So if you have big ideas, it is not surprising that other people might want to copy them. So other competitors may try to replicate your product, but they can't replicate your brand. That's why protecting your brand is equivalent to protecting your product. And Amazon takes this very seriously. If you are a brand owner with a US trademark, brand protection is available through Brand Registry to help you identify and flag counterfeit products on every Amazon marketplace in the world in real time. So see, these are some of the tools and benefits. There are actually 2 pillars of benefits that comes with Amazon Brand Registry. Firstly, it is brand protection. So let me introduce you to some of the brand protection program that Amazon have developed. Firstly, it is the automated brand protection to proactively identify and remove suspected infringement. There is also the report a violation tool for brands to directly report infringement to Amazon. There is also a submission history section where you can view all your reports. The Amazon IP Accelerator program is where Amazon connects businesses with curated network of trusted IP law firms, which provides high quality trademark registration services at a competitive rate. Our transparency program, which is an item level product serialization service that can help you to uniquely identify products and help you to prevent counterfeit against your branded product listings. We also have this initiative called Amazon Project Zero that empowers brands to partner with us to drive counterfeits to zero. So besides the brand protection tools that I've mentioned, Amazon Brand Registry is also designed to help you to reach more customers. So the features shown on the screen here are all exclusive to brand owners selling on Amazon stores. So Brand Registry gives you access to a suite of tools and programs, including things like A+ content, brand analytics, stores, and sponsored brands. So depending on the relationship with the brand, you will have access to all of these or some of these tools. Next, let me hop into Amazon advertising. So in order to scale your business, Amazon business, it is very important for you to take up Amazon advertising in order to help you to overcome the cold start. So Amazon advertising features a series of cost per click solutions that lets you target by keywords or products to help increase the visibility of your product. So these ads usually appears to customers in search results or on product detail pages. So when click on it, these ads link straight to your product listing and to help you to drive sales. So Amazon advertising is quick and easy. So the creatives for the advertising are actually auto-generated based on your product listing. So if you are a seller enrolled in Amazon Brand Registry, there are other solutions available such as sponsored brands, sponsored brand videos, and sponsored display to help you to drive the traffic. So when setting up campaigns, you can select products and keywords you like to include. You will be able to decide how much you want to spend on each campaign by setting the budgets. And once your ad is launched, it may appear among search results or, like I mentioned just now, some of the product detail pages that a customer is browsing through. So as an advertiser, this is a good thing. You will only need to pay when your ad is being clicked on, and you will be able to track a variety of metrics, including your impressions. You can also analyze your advertising cost of sales by looking at the sales conversion data to further optimize your campaign or even your product detail pages. So to summarize, here are the 3 key benefits that you can receive when you enrolled in Amazon advertising. One of the most important thing about Amazon advertising is that our solutions are flexible, responsive, and easy to not just launch, but also to adjust at every single stage. So you don't need to have any previous advertising experience to use them. For instance, sponsored ads may help you to improve your visibility with the opportunity to get listings on page 1 of the search result. So this can lead to an increase in sales. And since you will be delivering highly relevant ads to customers who are shopping for a product that is similar to yours and are motivated to make the purchase. Our advertising console also provides a clear reporting. Like what I've mentioned just now, it gives you the breakdown of your ads cost, how your keywords have been doing. So this gives you a full awareness of how your advertising, how your ads are performing. And this can help you to plan out your strategy moving forward. So after sharing with you all the tools and benefits that is available on Amazon, now let me introduce you to this exciting new seller initiative program, a new seller incentive programs that was launched just this year. So the main purpose of this is to help new sellers like yourself to ease the cost and risk in your initial selling journey on Amazon. So especially in the US marketplace. So it consists of 3 elements. So the first element in this program is to help brand owners to grow their brands. So new sellers who are identified as brand owners with Amazon Brand Registry within the first 6 months of selling will be able to enjoy benefits, including a 5% bonus of up to $1 million eligible sales. So that means you can earn up to $50,000 in bonus value. Secondly, you will be granted $200 in credits for using Amazon Global Logistics for all your inbound shipping when you ship to our fulfillment centers via FBA. So you will also be automatically enrolled in this FBA new selection program, which allows you to get free monthly storage, liquidation, and return processing for eligible new to FBA products. Lastly, you can reach more customers with Amazon ads by signing up for sponsored products and launch a campaign with no end date with your FBA ASINs and get up to 200 credits for it. Besides that, if you would like to launch if you like to utilize coupons, you will also be given $50 in credits when you adopt coupons. So for more information, please scan the QR code over here at the site to understand a little bit more and the detailed steps of how to get these incentives. Another exciting news that I want to share with everyone here is that Prime Day is just around the corner. So for those who are not aware, Prime Day is one of our biggest sales event of the year. So during this time, Amazon will be engaging in mass marketing efforts to drive external traffic during Prime Day. And this will help you to create a great opportunity for sellers or new sellers like yourself to engage with new potential partners. So now is a good time for you to join us and start listing your product. So just now let me just take you through a quick guide on how you can get started with Amazon. So firstly, there are two types of selling plan on Amazon. One is professional selling plan. The other one is individual selling plan. So if you are planning to sell less than 40 items a month, you can consider using the individual selling account. So please note that there are additional 99 cents per item sold when you are using this individual selling account. So if you are planning to grow big and sell more than 50 items a month, I highly recommend you to get started with professional selling plan. So based on being on professional selling plan provides you with greater access to customize your store settings and to provide a better shopping experience for your customers. Also, our team provides account management support to professional selling account only. So by default, we strongly recommend sellers to sign up with a professional selling plan. A question that many sellers would ask is, how much does it cost to sell on Amazon? We can break this cost into four main components. Firstly, selling plan, which we just covered. Secondly is the referral fee. So Amazon charges a percentage fee on items sold. So this amount varies across different categories, but generally falls between 6 to 15%. So you can find out more detailed breakdown by category on our website. So thirdly is the fulfillment fees, which I have covered just now. So these will include fulfillment fees for each item sold and nominal storage fees for keeping your inventory in our fulfillment center. Let's say if you are planning to enroll in FBA. And lastly, all the other costs. So you may incur additional costs, let's say if you choose to take up Amazon advertising. So all these things falls under the other cost section. So what are some of the documents you need to get started? So you will need to prepare, some of the documents you need to prepare is a bank account to receive all the payments. You will also need a chargeable credit cards for any costs you will incur, such as the monthly subscription fee. You will also need a government issued national ID. This can be NRIC, passport, or driver's license. So for business owners, you will need to provide tax information. And lastly, you will need to have an active phone number. So here are some of the things you will need to take note before submitting your documents. So I will not be going through them one by one, but please make sure that during registration, that you check all of these boxes. This will help you to ensure that your registration will you can get through the verification quickly and to get access to your Seller Central as soon as possible. So for more information, you can scan the QR code for a detailed registration guide. So before we head on to the FAQ segment, here are some of the anecdotes that we have from our local sellers, such as Naoki Matcha, Pristine Aroma, and Ray Smith, all of which they have managed to find success with selling on Amazon and have expanded globally to many other marketplaces, such as the EU5, the UK, and the Middle Eastern marketplaces. So before we end off, before I pass on my session over to Dallas, I would like to address some of the common questions by sellers. So firstly, what are the requirements pertaining to business registrations, local tax ID or EIN when creating a seller account on Amazon? Documents required have been indicated on the slide earlier on, what you need for registration. So just make sure that you adhere to the checklist before you submit all of them. So second question is, are there any relevant legal and regulatory requirements for Singapore businesses to become sellers? So the answer is naturally, to sell in any foreign countries, we will have to adhere to the country's laws and regulations. So in the US, for instance, if you wish to sell food items, you will need an FDA cert. or if you wish to sell toys for kids below the age of 13, you will need to have a CPC cert. So there are multiple guidelines across various subcategories. So if you are keen to sell, do fill up the form that I will be showing you in the next slide. And our team will connect and share with you these resources accordingly. Third question is, do sellers absolutely need a US bank account when becoming a seller on Amazon.com? You will need a bank account that accepts US currency. So we do have sellers that leverages on third-party service providers such as Payoneer and World First to receive payments on Amazon.com. So last question is, what is the process to get started using FBA, and what are the tax and import tariffs implication? So to get started with FBA, I have explained in all the processes in the slides earlier on. So once you have registered, you will get access to all our step-by-step tutorial and receive guidance from our account managers. So the tax and import tariffs varies accordingly, and it's heavily dependent on the number of product you ship, the category type, as well as the size of your product. So for more information about taxes, I will leave it to Dallas to explain a little bit more later on. So here comes to the end for my presentation today. So please follow us on Facebook to see other tips and advices on selling on Amazon.com. Also, like I've mentioned, if you are interested to get started with us, please scan the QR code over here and fill out the form, and we will contact you with any information or any questions that you have. So that's all from me today. I will pass on the session to Dallas, who will explain more about the tax implication for Singapore sellers selling into the US.
Great, thanks so much, Yi. So just 1 second, I'm sharing my screen now. Okay, great. So yeah, just want to be sure if everyone can see my screen. Okay, great. Okay, cool. Thanks so much, everyone. So thanks so much, Yi. I think that was a very good presentation, and shows how easy it is to actually sell on Amazon, and with many tools available as well. You can bring the items that you see on TikTok to life very quickly to your prospective markets. So yeah, today at Stake, first of all, thank you so much, Yi and team, and from Amazon as well for having us in the webinar today. So today at Stake, we're going to be talking about the e-commerce taxation for Singapore sellers selling on Amazon.com. So I'm breaking these slides into several portions. First of all, we'll be talking a little bit about selling as an individual versus selling as a private limited company. Number two, a little bit about GST. And then we'll end off with some essential tax information and also some tax optimization tips as well. So of course, before we dive into this information, happy to share a little bit about Slick and what we do. Okay, so at Slick, we are a 100% digital platform, and our goal at the end of the day is to enable entrepreneurs and VC investors like yourself to set up your entity and to take care of the full corporate governance of your Singapore company. So this allows our business owners to actually be fully focused on their business strategies, growth, and just leave the logistics down to us, and so that we can take care of this regulatory filings for you. At Slick, we do have about 6,000 companies under management. We're located in 4 countries. We started in Singapore, we are in Hong Kong, Australia, and also the UK as well. So coming into the first section, I'm going to be talking about the tax implications for Singapore-based sellers selling on Amazon.com. So just do take note that Slake is not affiliated to Amazon in any way. And of course, all this information can be used as a general guideline. But if you do have any specific questions, do let us know. We can also conduct like a free consultation session, because this is often based on your personal scenarios, which can differ on a case-by-case basis. So for today's example, I'm going to be bringing in this example of Michael. So Michael is a local Singaporean. He's been in Singapore all his life. And interestingly enough, during his uni days, he worked together with some non-locals. So he has friends in the US and in America as well. So what happens? He thought of this great idea because when his friends were here in Singapore, they used some TCM ointments, and it actually worked really well for them. So what happens if he's selling as an individual? Will he actually be taxed here in Singapore? So the good news is, if you're selling physical goods to international customers on Amazon.com, as an individual taxpayer, this overseas income received in Singapore by an individual is actually not taxable, and you do not need to be declared in your income tax return. However, do take note that if you're selling as an individual, of course, it comes with risks as well. And this is very important to take into consideration, especially if your business is growing, to protect your assets and liabilities. So if you're selling as a private limited company, in this case, yes, the physical goods that you're selling abroad in Amazon.com will then be taxable here in Singapore. So one of the markets I would dive a little bit into today is the US market. So contrary to popular belief, Singapore and the US actually does not have a double taxation agreement, despite us being very good friends. So what are some of the things to take note of? Of course, if you're not a US taxpayer, do note that the US tax authorities require non-US taxpayers to provide a specific declaration to Amazon.com in order to be exempted for the US tax reporting requirements. Of course, Amazon.com may also obtain this identification information from you. So this is something that's very important to take into consideration in order to be waived off the taxes so that you're only paying taxes here in Singapore. So next up, we'll talk a little bit about GST. Of course, I'm very sure that all our locals are very familiar with this and also the rising GST as well. But what happens now if you're selling, you're performing as a seller? What are the GST implications for a Singapore-based seller then? So if you're exporting these goods from Singapore to a delivery location internationally, you must charge 0% GST. So that's good news. And what you have to do is you are required to maintain the necessary export documents for the next 5 years. This can be a bill of lading, an export certificate, bearing your name as the exporter. And of course, this would help to substantiate that you're actually selling these items overseas. If you're drop shipping, a very common tool these days for e-commerce businesses, and you're selling from an overseas warehouse to an overseas customer with a delivery location outside of Singapore, this is also known as an out-of-scope supply, and no GST applies in this case. All right, so yeah, jumping on next, I'm going to be talking a bit about some essential tax information as well. And I guess at the end of the day, the most important question that we get asked is your income then taxable in Singapore? How do you know if this is actually taxable in Singapore as well? So the income that you derive in Singapore is considered taxable here if the business operations supporting the online activities are actually based here in Singapore. So what does that mean? So coming back to my example of Michael, so he's selling these TCM ointments overseas, but in Singapore, he's doing all the work. He's looking at speaking to the different TCM masters, actually identifying which ones are the best products, and then perhaps performing some advertising activities on Amazon as well in order to generate some revenues for the business. So in this case, the key activities for earning the income is performed in Singapore, although the sales are made in online on Amazon US. And in this case, what happens is the sale income through Amazon US would then consider be sourced in Singapore and hence taxable in Singapore as well. Of course, it's also very, very important to keep proper track records and accounts of your business transactions. So for tax reporting purposes, you must have a record keeping system to track your income and your expenses. So at Slate, this is something that we specialize in, and we do have a very robust accounting system so that you could use this to actually invoice your customers and to keep track of all your expenses in place as well. If you're using Slate, we do also have our automated systems that we set up for you backend. So all of your company's expenses can be done and can be reconciled very quickly so that when you're logging into our systems, you can actually see the live cash flow of your business, and you can always pull up your balance sheet and your P&L very quickly as well. Of course, you do need to keep your documents as well, such as your business records and not your sourcing documents, and this must be kept for a minimum of 5 years. Just also as a reference to the previous slides, yes, it's also important to keep these records if, let's say, if you're exporting your items overseas as well, so that you are also, you can substantiate to the authorities and also to show Amazon if, let's say, these items are actually sold not in Singapore. So what happens if you're unable to produce these records? Of course, there would be consequences as well. and there would be an adjustment of your income. Taxes are often then adjusted upwards, so that's not something that you want. So for this case, for example, if you have like $100,000 in revenue and you have about 60K in profits, that means to say 40K in expenses, you do actually need to show that for 60K in profits, it's actually 60K, so that you're not charged based on more income than that. So I'll share a little bit more about that towards the end of our slides. Okay, so yeah, I'm almost coming to the end now. So now we're going to be sharing a little bit about the tax tips and tax optimization practices as well. So if you're selling as an individual, it's also very interesting to note that you can still reduce your taxable income through tax reliefs. So some of these reliefs will be like the CPF relief, the NS-MEN relief, and also things like the productivity and innovation scheme that you can look into to actually reduce your taxable income. So do note, of course, these tax reliefs and rebates are allowable if you're a Singapore tax resident and you are meeting various qualifying conditions as per the IRAS conditions as well. Secondly, what about as a business? So this is where it gets interesting as well. So if you are actually setting up a private limited company, you can actually reduce your taxable income through your tax deductible expenses. So what does this mean? Back to the example of keeping the 60K as profits and to be taxed only at the 60K of profits alone. How this is done is your expenses must all qualify these 4 conditions below. So in definition, the deductible expenses, those incurred in the production of income. So these 4 requirements are, it must be solely incurred in the production of income. So for example, if you're taking a taxi to meet the TCM masters, if you're having a storage space to store these items, this can be actually incurred as the production of income. This is not a contingent liability. So simply means that these expenses must be something that has already been incurred and not something that is a forecasted expense. Expenses are revenue in nature and not a capital expense. So for this portion, what happens is, if let's say if you're looking at having a lawyer to help you to increase the paid up capital of the company, for such expenses, it's known as a capital expense, and hence these are not considered for as a revenue expense. And of course, the last one is these expenses are not prohibited from deduction under the Income Tax Act. So if it does satisfy all these 4 conditions, then you can actually show that your 60K of profits is actually 60K itself, so that you're not taxed based on more than that. All right, great. So thank you, everyone. Come to the end of my slides now. So at Stake, you can feel free to get in touch with myself. That's my email, dallas@stake.com. Or also you can scan our QR code over here, which will also be directing you to one of our team members to help you with your questions and answers. So at Stake, we do help with the setup of the companies and also with the corporate governance, specifically the corporate secretary and the accounting matters. And just a word of advice, I would say, is if you're looking to sell as an individual, it's recommended if you're looking at going very small, your trip maybe like testing a new market, then that's reasonable. Otherwise, if you're looking at scaling this up very quickly, if you're seeing many views on TikTok for such an item, then it's definitely advisable to go as a private limited entity, because you do protect your assets and liabilities of the company much better, and we will definitely be happy to help you with that. So joining us in our Q&A sessions, if you do have questions, you can also put them in the chat box as well. We have Rochelle, which is one of our tax managers that would be answering the questions. And from here, Yijie and myself will be happy to take the questions. Maybe I'll pass it back to you, Yijie.
Yep. Okay, Ken. Thank you, Dallas, for the insightful sharing. So, yeah, as mentioned, please continue to put in your questions into the Q&A box so that we can answer them. So maybe let me just, I've seen some questions in the chat box as well that I thought would be good to take it here. So let me see. I'll just be taking some of the basic questions from Amazon, and then I will leave the rest up to Dallas to answer the questions on text. So I think Kamalia asked, if we are using FBA, can we set the shipping cost to customer? Because we still need to cover the ship cost in bulk. So in terms of the pricing of your product, this is what we always advise our sellers. It's entirely up to you, and we always advise you to include your shipping costs into your product prices as well. So it's really up to the sellers themselves to see how they want to strategize and how they want to price their products. So that is, I hope that answers your question, Kamalia. And next question that I have over here is I think there is brand registry. Is it a product level or company level? Say I am a seller for my manufacturer products, or I register my own company brand. So the in terms of product brand registry, it's always at a product level. So you can either register your brand as a text, or you can register your brand as an image. So for more information, I will now drop this brand registry guide that we have created for new sellers like yourself. Let me just input them into. So hopefully this will give you a brief, give everyone more information of what Amazon brand registry is about. Yep, I have already put them down in the chat box. Besides that, so is this, okay, the last questions that maybe I'll be taking from for Amazon is this new seller incentive program available to sellers who used to be on FBA? So I assume that, Kelvin, you are talking about this, the FBA new selection program that I mentioned just now. So that program is only available to firstly new sellers, and secondly sellers who have and secondly, for sellers who ASINs are under FBA. So it wouldn't be applicable to sellers who, let's say, decided to fulfill the items by themselves. So I hope that answered your question. Yeah, I think that's all for the questions in the chat box. I think the rest of the questions sometimes is a bit more specific. So I'll highly recommend you to reach out via the QR code that we have provided just now. So let me now just take a look at the Q&A section. Okay, maybe just one last question from Yvonne. My products are mainly food and healthcare products. Therefore, how can I seek more information about this before I register to be a seller on Amazon? Actually, this is a very good question. We do have a session with Registrar Corp. So they are a company that helps sellers, Amazon sellers, to register FDA cert. So I would highly recommend Yvonne, and as well as everyone in the crowd who would like to sell food products into the US, to attend that webinar. Let me just put the webinar link quickly in the chat box right now so that everyone can get registered. Yep, so this is the one. So please get it registered. So for all food and healthcare product, you will need to have an FDA cert in order to sell on Amazon.com. So so Dallas, I do have a couple of questions for you here. So question from Norman is, for a Malaysian digital nomad who travels and works extensively, how is the person taxable, assuming his business is Malaysian based?
Yeah, definitely. So I will answer this together with also James' question as well. So I think at stake and what we do, just to clarify also, because we are fully focused on the Singapore incorporation. So this is pertaining to the Singapore entity itself. In this case, if you're looking at like the Malaysian-based entity, there might be some tax implications involved, but it's better to stick with a local tax specialist based in Malaysia that might be in better position to answer this. Similarly, for James as well, on the US side of things, we will not be able to comment much as well. We'll focus more on the Singapore side. So if you're looking at setting up here in Singapore and the taxation here, those, yes, we can answer, but not on the US side of things.
Okay, Ken. Thank you. Thank you, Dallas. So I believe there are still some. Will you be able to understand? Will you be able to answer Julianito's question?
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so the question would be, my books would come from the Philippines. Will I be imposed taxes on the Singapore government if I'm able to sell, for instance, one copy of book. So what happens is, I think it depends on the entity that you're selling through. Of course, if let's say if you're selling through like a Singapore private limited entity, and you're making this sale, it depends on your company's profits as well. Because in Singapore, we are taxed. Our government system is taxing the companies based on the profits. So if this means to say, if your expenses steal more than your revenue, you're not actually taxable. So it depends on the scenario of what you're looking at. But of course, if you have some questions on the setup of the entity and things like that, we'll be happy to share more as well that I didn't dive too much into, but you'll see that it's quite simple to have it set up and to have this entity maintained fixedly.
All right, Ken, thank you. So, okay, I believe the next question is for me. Shini wants to find out more about commercial liability insurance. So basically, this is an insurance policy that was enforced by Amazon last year. So for sellers who have been earning a monthly income of 10K and above for 3 months consecutively, Amazon will require you to get the product liability insurance. So with Shini's question, can I direct you to our generic mailbox so that we can send you some resources that you can reach out to, some maybe insurance brokers that you can reach out to that may be able to help you with this. Let me just type down the email address in the chat box. Global selling at amazon.com. Yeah, please send in your inquiry to us and we will address them accordingly. So that is done. Kurt Liu asked if the operation activity is happening all overseas using SG registered company to sell in the US marketplace. Is the income still taxable in SG? Dallas, will you be able to answer that?
Definitely. So yeah, if you're looking at using the SG company, but if all of the activities are done overseas, then in this case, what happens is you will not actually be taxable in Singapore. On this portion, I would also have my colleague Rochelle to dive a little bit more into this. She will write down an answer for you in this question Q&A section.
Okay. Thank you, Dallas. Let me just look at okay, so Patrick's question, I think Patrick is having some issues with like his FBA product. So Patrick, I think I have input the global selling mailbox email account there. I will suggest you to email us so that we may take a look at it and maybe advise you accordingly. For all questions regarding, let's say, listing issues or FBA issues, I will say the best person for you to, we will always direct sellers to selling partner support. Reason is because they usually have they will usually be able to have the full visibility of your account as well as the issues that you are having, and they will be able to address accordingly. So when you are writing to selling partner support, just need to make sure that you are detailing your issues properly so that they understand and they will be able to solve it accordingly. So Patrick, I hope that answers your question. Let me just look at the next question. If we ship into US FBA warehouse, what is the CIF value to declare and will we be taxed for it? I think this one, Gray, you will need to contact your logistic providers in terms of anything, any cost that involves in, shipping from your local country into the FBA warehouse. Your logistics provider should be able to give you a quotation for it. So I will refer you. Yeah. So I will say, reach out to your logistics providers. Yeah. Okay, let me just dismiss this. Okay, I think Shini has a couple of questions regarding policy liability insurance. With this, as mentioned, I think maybe you can also email us because the issue is very specific and yeah, I think a bit hard to answer over here. Yeah, so Dallas, I think there is a question that JT has in the chat box for you. Would you like to answer it live?
Yep, definitely. So that one actually I did cover in my slides a little earlier as well. So if you are selling actually on the US market, the US tax authorities requires a specific declaration to Amazon.com in order to be exempted from the US tax reporting requirements. So yeah, to answer the question, yeah, you can be waived from the taxes in the US, but you must have the declaration done to Amazon.com in order to have this waived.
Okay. Thank you, Dallas. I hope, JT, I hope that answers your question. Um, what if I sell as LLC? I think that covered it also, right? What if I sell as LLC? I think JT has a follow-up question. What if I sell as a LLC and not individual seller?
Yes, I
Yep,
mean, if as a LLC in Singapore, that is a private limited entity. If
yep.
you're looking at the US entity, because I do know that in the US it's known as an LLC, so that
Mm,
one you might need to check with a US company specialist. But if you're setting up as a private limited, then yes, if you have this declarations done, then your tax can be exempted.
yep. Okay. Ken, thank you so much, Dallas. Wait, more of snake tat. Okay, let's nice, we'll email you. So any questions? I believe some of the questions, text questions that are, maybe let me just share my slide. So any texts, any questions that maybe either Dallas or I didn't get to address during this webinar, let me just share my screen. So please reach out to us via the various QR codes. So with any Amazon related question, you can scan the QR code in the middle. With any questions for Sleek, any tax related issues, because I believe tax sometimes it's a bit hard to answer, over here as a webinar because it can get very granular. So please reach out to Sleek if you have any question. Um, Besides that, I think that's all right. I don't see any other questions. Um, Yep. I don't see any other questions anymore in the chat box as well as a Q&A box. As usual, thank you so much for joining us in our webinar. So as I've mentioned, so we have another 2 more webinars coming up next week. So one is on FDA. The other one is with TikTok actually to guide you as to how you can market your product better to drive external traffic. So we hope you can join us in the webinars. And thank you so much, Dallas, for joining us today. I think it was insightful, and I hope it provided everyone over here with a better understanding with Texas. So thank you, everyone. I think I will end the webinar soon. Thank you, everyone, for attending, and have a great weekend ahead.
Thanks, EJ, and thank you everyone for joining us today. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Oh, I am seeing some questions that is addressing that the QR code for Slick is not working. Let me look into it. Maybe in the follow-up email for this webinar, we will send you the QR code, the contact link along with the email so that everyone can contact them. Yep. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a good weekend.